Hey guys, so today I will be reviewing the first season of Knightfall. Knightfall is a History Channel drama that came out earlier this year. It seems to be inspired by shows like Game of Thrones and Vikings, and is set during the medieval period. It's actually directed by Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the Marvel movies. Just to warn you guys, this review will have spoilers. The show focuses on the Knights Templar, a medieval military order who fought for the Pope. Much of the plot actually involves the search for the Holy Grail, which is the famous cup that made previous appearances in other television shows and movies, such as Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The show starts out with the 1291 Siege of Acre. I thought the scene was really cool, and I really did enjoy it. I do, however, think the show blew about 80% of its special effects budget on this first episode, as there really aren't too many scenes of the same caliber as the show goes on. Overall, I felt Knightfall was a decent yet somewhat generic piece of entertainment. It follows the same style and themes of shows like Game of Thrones and Vikings, in that it's a violent, edgy drama. So for fans of those shows, it could serve as a decent holdover in between episodes. Now unfortunately, I couldn't help but feel at times that Knightfall was simply an inferior version of Vikings. Knightfall tries to excite you in many of the same ways Vikings does, for example, with drama, action, betrayal, even sex appeal. But in terms of characters and storylines, it just feels a lot blander. Not to mention, in terms of acting, there wasn't a single actor or actress who was anywhere near as captivating as Travis Fimmel was in Vikings. My favorite character was actually Ed Stoppard's character, King Philip. I found him to be intriguing because he seemed like a bit of a wild card. He wants to be loved by his people, but he has a certain level of insecurity that makes you wonder whether he's going to go down a dark path. You really weren't sure whether he was going to develop into a protagonist or an antagonist by the end of the show. And while we do know he turns into an antagonist, I really can't blame him, too much at least, for what he did. I mean, his wife cheats on him with his best friend. He tries to reconcile with her despite this, and she still refuses. And he's supposed to be the bad guy? I mean, it probably doesn't justify him killing her, but if all that happened to me, I'd probably be pretty pissed too. Now, unfortunately, those looking for historical accuracy will likely be disappointed. Outside of using a handful of historical characters, the majority of the plot is complete fiction. Still, I think it's a great thing that the History Channel seems to be trending more towards historical dramas like this one, instead of complete nonsense like Ancient Aliens or Swamp People. I really do hope this series gets greenlit for a season 2, despite the fact that one has not yet been announced. I would like to see the conclusion of many of the character stories, and I think there are many places that they can still take this series that would be really awesome. And I mean really, wouldn't the most fitting ending for this series be the Knights Templar being burnt at the stake by King Philip? So in conclusion, I'd say Knightfall is a decent history drama that can be a bit generic at times. While it isn't as good as Vikings, it can still make for an entertaining watch. I really do hope there is a season 2. My final verdict on season 1 of Knightfall is a 3.5 stars out of 5.